Alright, welcome back. And I am just using the microphone on my phone, which apparently is much better than the dedicated microphone I purchased. So hopefully the sound quality from now on is crackle free and you can hear me clearly. Like I said in the last video, Mage War needed some edits. This is going to be a summary video for those edits. And what you see before you here is the first deck made with the new rule set. And I'll go over this deck in a profile. That is going to be the next video right after this, so stay tuned. What we're going to go over in this video, I'm going to start with what got taken out, then what got added, and then what got changed. So initially, as per the last video, I think we pretty much figured out that the exchange abilities were broken and they were too powerful and also allowed for infinite combos. So that was the first thing to get taken out. But then I knew that there was probably some other things that were needing to be fixed. And so I went over and tried to find all of those. And actually, I did find one more infinite combo. So things that got taken out first, of course, the exchange abilities. And then the next one that got removed, the ability Clone, the primary ability Clone, completely got eliminated because it was just way too powerful. I think in an earlier version of the rules it was okay, but as it is now, Clone cannot exist. So I was a little sad. I really do like that ability, but Clone had to go. And next on the chopping block was COUNSEL, and I discovered that COUNSEL allowed for infinite combos. So COUNSEL got taken out. Then the last one was Secret. And COUNSEL is a world ability. Secret is also a world ability. Secret got taken out just because it's now underpowered with the new fix, the new secondary ability that got added, which we'll go over momentarily. But then also for items, I realized that there was a problem with minions. Giving the minions allowed for a 2-for-1, so items can no longer have the minion ability. They also cannot have the new secondary, the new secondary ability. And going next to what got added, the new secondary ability is actually draw. It's not called draw, it's 4-card draw. The name of the ability is Greed, just like primary, except it's written like a secondary where you just capitalize the first letter. So I'm going to read you Greed here. This is the new secondary ability, and I'll post this also in the description below so that you can start using it if you want. Greed N. N is equal to the number of cards. This ability op activates. Draw a number of cards equal to N. You can choose the order in which a card's op abilities activate if it activates multiple op abilities. This ability may not be given to items. Cost: 1 MP for each card you draw when this ability activates. For example, Greed 2 costs 2 MP. Greed 3 costs 3 MP. So just like minions, you actually have to choose the number. This isn't X. And that is pretty much that. It is very versatile. You can give it to auras, you can give it to allies. Because you can choose the order of activation for auras, it's really useful. You can use it with Foresight, you can use it with Gamble. Gamble being you can choose a number of cards in your hand and then shuffle them back into your deck and draw that many cards. So if you have Greed, the secondary, on there first, then you can draw however many cards you want and then decide out of what your total hand is what you want to shuffle in and then draw back. And with Foresight, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You can put any number of them on the bottom of your deck, and I think you can put the top back in any order. Also probably on the bottom in any order. But if you have draw, then you can Foresight first, put whatever card you want on the top, and then draw that, or actually however many cards you want to draw, you can do that. So, and then with the primary ability Greed, you can add on the secondary ability, and you can basically just make it as big of a draw card as you want. In this deck here, there is Greed with the secondary ability Greed 1, so it costs 3 total, and it's a draw 3. So that's pretty cool. Also, just to note, the DA greed still exists. I don't. I think it's maybe a little underpowered in some cases, maybe a little redundant, but there are some niche uses. So I just want to leave it in there in case somebody figures out something cool to do with it. Yeah, something might happen to it later, but for now it's just staying in there because I'm pretty sure nothing's wrong with it. And then what changed? So we've got a couple things here. Of course, the items edit that was stated earlier, where for special abilities, they cost just like secondary abilities on an item. They add both their cost to the deck and play cost of an item card, which is different from allies, where allies don't incur play cost from a special ability, but items do. So that's been added. The next is the world primaries that discard to activate. Those created infinite combos, just like the exchange abilities did, because you only had to discard one. So those have all been changed to discard 2. So I can read that off to you here. So it says discard 2 allies of yours from play. Their DC abilities may not be activated to, and then whatever the ability is. And the world primaries that have that are as follows. I'm scrolling up here. Counter, death, expel, and then greed, redirect, and sabotage. Those are all discard 2 of your allies from play. Their DC abilities can't be activated to activate whatever it is. So that was changed. And then also some of the minor edits. I think I found Ristic Studies in the open letter. There was an instance that wasn't properly capitalized, so I fixed that. There was also the word, it was originally, as currently printed, it says within as one word, but it should have a space between those for with space in the combat section somewhere, so I fixed that. And this was kind of a funny one. I'm actually just real sorry that I missed this. This was on the world ability Storm. I completely left off how or when the card is discarded, except for in the parentheses, it says in which case this card is discarded at the end of the turn on which it was put into play if X was 0. But the last line here that's been added to fully flesh out this ability, I apologize again, it says, this card is discarded if at the end of a turn you must remove a time counter from it and it has 0. So if it has 0 time counters and you go to discard one, or sorry, you go to remove a time counter from it, then that is when you discard it. So that's what causes it to be discarded at the end of the turn, that it was put into play if you didn't pay anything for X. So that was fixed. And I think that's all of the edits. So again, in the description below, you'll see the new secondary ability Greed. You can play around with that. And then just know that the things that got eliminated were the exchanges, clone, council, secret, and items cannot have either the minion's secondary ability or the Greed secondary ability. So that is it for this video here. The next video will be a deck profile for this thing right here. You can see it is a chaotic neutral deck, so that should be fun. Stay tuned. See you in the next one.